see. I'm able to see the stream on my end.
Okay, because you
Here's-
can also, once you know that it's working, you can stop streaming to YouTube but still see the chat. So if you ever needed the bandwidth, you can stop the video but still see the chat live, which is good.
I have the chat here, and I can also see it on the YouTube, and the
Cool.
a second monitor will remedy a lot of these issues.
Right.
Which I already have. I just need a display port, but we've already got PCs built. Like Jax is already using his new PC,
Uh-huh.
so it's just a matter of time. We are live, if you can believe it.
Hey! Surprise!
Right? But let's see if I can.
We're going to try the no warning method and see how that works.
Well, that way you don't say offensive things.
Offensive things.
Oh gosh, now we're demonetized. It was so fast. Okay. All right.
We made it 20 seconds before getting delisted.
Let's see if I.
Who are we? Where are we? What are we doing?
We're on. We welcome welcome to Crypto Cringe. I am, of course, I'm your host, John McAfee, and you're watching absolutely nothing because we're not anywhere. This is going poorly. Right out the gate. It's all cringe. And I'm actually trying to see if I can pull us up on Twitch and make sure that is functioning. So, everyone gets to see the how the bread is made.
Everybody take your seats. Everybody take your seats. The
It,
show will be starting shortly.
I'd like to tell you that
This is
it gets better, but it doesn't. All right, we are streaming actively on the Twitch. Trying to find that stream so I can see chat. Didn't open up immediately like it should. It's a burgeoning market of which I have absolutely no experience, which means I'm the perfect candidate for the job.
Are you intentionally saying your name wrong?
John McAfee, of course. I just don't want them to get me.
Well, just tattoo whacked on your arm, and that should take care of everything.
Okay, so you're showing me that I'm online, but I can't click my stream. Why would you tell me I'm online, but I can't see my own stream? That just seems silly.
I think there's something for you to press, if I remember correctly.
There's something for me to press.
Are you able to see the chat?
Nope. It's objectively bad.
Do you want to let this go another minute or two and then stop and go see whether it actually produced anything?
No, it says on Twitch that I'm streaming.
Okay. Is there a video setting on Twitch? You want to send me a link in Discord?
Yeah, I'm trying to get there.
Oh no, now everybody knows that McAfee's alive using Discord.
There we go. I had to go to my channel. Okay.
Things they forget to tell you in technology world.
My goodness.
Mine too.
Okay. All right. So.
Our goodness.
All right, we're live everywhere we're supposed to be. Welcome to the Crypto Cringe Show. I, of course, am your host, John McAfee, and I absolutely did not kill myself. So, let's just get into it. With me, joining me, as always, is Crypto Gordon Freeman. Gordon, how the heck are you?
Well, just like in the Half-Life series, I absolutely say nothing.
And that concludes the stream. Thank you for joining us. Give us all your money. I don't think that was true.
Well, how are you doing?
I'm still awake. In this terrifying ocean that is the crypto world.
It is cringe. It is the future. And therefore,
the future is cringe.
There he goes!
So true.
Welcome to the Crypto Cringe Show. Oh yeah. Very much.
Alright, so where would you like for us to begin today?
Start at the start.
Start at the start.
Just the way we start every day, Pinky.
Trying to take over the world. So, in the beginning, there were the earth was void and without form, and then God said, "Let there be crypto," and now we're here. Does that about sum us up?
Yeah, I mean, it's the highly edited version.
Got it. Okay. Cliff notes. What you need to pass the course.
God, light, people, no people, water, subsides, rainbow, misuse of rainbow, 2021.
2021. That's where we're at.
Pretty much covered.
It's clean and clear right
Yeah,
there.
man. Yeah, man. So yeah, if you want a real answer, we'd been talking about what would be really cool for our premiere episode 1, unless we delete this and make something else episode 1.
Something far more substantial, and that makes sense, and isn't showing private emails between me and the other people that aren't dead.
Are you really? I'm not actually seeing anything.
No, well, maybe a tiny bit in the background, but that went away. Oh man, you can see I go to Harbor Freight. It's going, guys.
I don't think they use crypto yet.
Do I start my public apology now? When does that tour begin? There'll be a book and everything. I just kicked my camera.
Most likely, Yahoo Finance is going to put out a report that John McAfee is alive and he is shilling Harbor Freight. So most likely that's how they do things at Yahoo. Yahoo. Yeah. Yahoo?
No one knows who they are, according to the Orange Man, who is bad. So we'll have that as our authority on the matter.
Unless he's Bitcoin. Bitcoin Orange good.
Ooh, what if he was the embodiment of Bitcoin? Would that make coverage fall off, or just kind of go to the moon?
Ironically, since Trump, the only thing that he said in the past 7 months about cryptocurrency is that Bitcoin, I don't know, it sounds like a scam to me. Now, this is talking to somebody who has spent, probably 30 seconds of his entire life having anything to do with digital currencies. So the fact that somebody actually gives that credence to, Trump is anti-crypto, it's kind of silly. But last year he did deal with a little bit of the preemptive digital yuan stuff with China and said, I don't know, doesn't sound right. If they're trading it like an exchange, then it should be regulated like an exchange. So those are the 2 times that Trump has ever been approached on anything having to do with Bitcoin. And he pretty much just said, I'm a really powerful person, but I don't know anything. And honestly, he's right. If it is going to work the way that regulated exchanges work, then in whatever countries are going to allow it, it probably needs to follow some of those same rules. Whether you actually have to pass laws to make anything special about it is up for debate. But spinning that into something where Orange bad, hates crypto and he's just like the rest of them and he hates it. I mean, I think that's giving it 10x the amount of thought that he's actually given it. So that's my opinion there. But it is the ironic part is that since Craig Wright, Dr. Wright the fraud, claims to be Satoshi, which he may or may not be.
We're throwing shade early on.
We're just going to throw it right up front. I don't want to get sued, but just, sue Valve, who created me, instead of me, if you want to.
Of course. You're dealing with a fictional character and a man who's no longer alive, allegedly. So, good luck,
absolutely.
checkers.
How is this even taking place is really what you should be asking
It's
yourself.
The internet. Anything can happen.
So, yeah, the irony there is that the person who claims to have created Bitcoin, the wonderful orange Bitcoin, has the same awful things to say about Bitcoin because he's shilling the not Bitcoin version of a hard fork of Bitcoin. So you could take Orange Man bad and Orange good creator, Orange creator guy, and say that he's bad. There, I did a thing.
You did a thing. You put it all together. You made it digestible. It's some good fiber, some good roughage.
Crypto cringe.
Crypto cringe.
That was too enthusiastic, I think.
I'm excited about it. Don't let my low energy fool you. This is Okay, so it's not 100%, but it will be maybe.
So yeah, maybe one of the good things for episode 1, unless it gets deleted, that's what I'm going to call the whole thing. Kind of looking at where we are in crypto, leading up to right now, and what's happened in 2021. That kind of stuff. What do you think?
Regulation bad.
Agreed.
That's
Next.
that's my hot take. I'm not afraid to take the unpopular stance. Uh, no, there's a 2021 has proven that if the government can make it worse, they're striving to.
Agreed.
It's we've seen all-time highs, and we've seen to say that I expected us to just be living in the 30,000s for a couple months as far as Bitcoin's value go. Uh, I wouldn't have been on that boat. I would have expected us to crash back down into the teens or just continue to moon, and instead we're in this just really weird holding pattern, and it seems to be as a result of the Chinese, complete stop hold upon miners and just everything that's going on with the U.S. economy right now. How we're printing so much more money than we really ever have in the past. Just so many things appear to be working in favor of cryptocurrency, but also just against us at the same time. It's kind of like, same story, just new characters.
I agree. I remember the moment that you and I were talking about this, and you were mad at me for a brief moment. How could anybody ever be mad at me except for
You're
the
fictional.
things?
Who could possibly be mad except for me, John
Well, I mean,
McAfee, the man who was
other
absolutely
fictional,
not dead?
other fictional things that see you coming at them with a crowbar.
Well,
You know what I'm saying?
them
But
barrels
yeah,
got me
no,
more than 2 hits, my guy.
no, it was mid-April,
Okay.
and we had seen the peak, and it was coming down off the peak, and it was going to dip around 50 and then head back up.
Mm-hmm.
And I was watching, and Elon's posting, and I'm watching the charts. And we need a certain range for the work that we do, for it to go in before it starts coming back down. And I'm telling you, I'm not liking what I'm seeing because there was the natural movement that it was going to do,
Right.
and now it's telling me that we're going to come down off of the other side of the mountain there, and we're not necessarily prepared for that strategy right now. So what you want to do, and just in that window of time, the instinct usually kicks in about 27 minutes before what happens at the market.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember very clearly you telling me 47, and I was like, what 47? Where 47? Who 47? What are you talking about? What did I miss? And that was when it had made it from the mid 50s down to 47,000, and that was a definite manipulation, not a natural market move for
Right.
sure. But yeah, the from that point forward, my concern was that the heavy uh, laying on of manipulation was going to bring it down. I thought, low 40s, high 30s, but who would know it would come next with all the crazy stuff? I think that people way overly went into all the poop coin, meme coin
All the
madness.
crap coins, because
Yes.
this is a Christian Minecraft server where we do not curse.
Get off of my Christian Minecraft server.
As no one is on it, I don't know that we should tell anyone to get off of it, but this will be good for the archives.
You're clear.
Wink.
Satan is in the bricks. Stay away.
I don't want him there. Stop it.
So let's actually back up a little. And you know what? This is kind of fun. Do we want to share this with anybody before we get going too far?
Yeah, we can.
Okay.
We can be kind of lighthearted.
Why don't you drop me a link and I'll share a link. And it could change absolutely nothing. I have no idea.
I'm supposed to be sharing you a link,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know what I'm sharing you a link of.
You would click share on the YouTube live stream and post it in our general.
Oh, of course. Yeah, that makes sense. Which general would you like? Would you like the all general or the less than all general?
I am us. Uh-huh.
There we are.
Cool. This makes it real, you know.
You say that, and I believe it to be true, and that anything is real, which I'm, 50-50 on.
Oh, this is hilarious. We have a guy that doesn't speak and a guy that's supposed to be dead. Hey, we have 4 subscribers.
That's unlikely. Why? Stop subscribing.
I'm not even subscribed yet. Oh, wait, yeah, I am. Okay. So that makes 2 of us.
Oh gosh, I don't think I'm subscribed. I just build stuff and forget about it.
Wayne, is that you?
Let me see if I can.
All right, I'm going to send this to our Twitter and regret it later.
Yes.
Hey, CT, if you are still awake, we are test streaming our very first episode of our crypto channel. I'm not even going to say what it is. I'm going to just post a link.
That's fair. I mean, we don't want to flaunt that we have special guest John McAfee, who is also me. That could spook him.
Well, spook is actually like the big word right now in crypto. Everybody thinks everybody else is CIA.
Oh, really? Well, that's reasonable.
So it's hilarious. It's perfectly reasonable. Okay. Oh, you used that picture of me? I look horrible. Just kidding. I always look exactly the same.
You do always look exactly. That's one thing we love about you, is your consistency, Gordon.
Well, between theoretical physics and playing House MD on television, it was a very taxing time in my life.
Is that accurate?
No, but I mean, he looks like House, doesn't he?
He does kind of look like he looks like a well-nourished House, because House obviously consumes all the Vicodin, and well, you don't have time for that. You're again, double shotting barrels so that they explode.
I mean, as you can tell, I don't even have any protective covering on the hazmat suit. So
no, well, you got that little symbol which will protect you from a third series.
What is the half-life of a cryptocurrency?
It's whatever the government decides it is.
Stuff. So, round 2 of round 1 of episode 1. So, Crypto Cringe show. Yeah, let's start at the start and kind of look in where we are now. Because what I noticed towards the end of last year was there was a lot of big stuff that none of us knew about that was at play. And I was pretty sure that it was coming because, not only was it end of year at a very crucial time in crypto, but, every 4 years it's election year, and that's when everybody goes completely crazy and hires out all the hitmen to do all the bad things in politics. So, I had my eyes wide open to say, okay, what are they going to lay on us while nobody's paying attention? Sure enough.
I don't know what you're implying there. Nothing bad has ever happened in American politics. Every single person involved, except for the Orange Man, is perfect.
Tiny, perfect.
Totally perfect. No
Perfectly
one has ever
wrapped gift box.
No one has ever been forever slept. Okay? I'm still very much alive, and so is Epstein. He's fine too. Totally.
To quote Legos, everything is awesome.
Why? I hate that. Why do you hurt me?
It's called Cringe.
It is.
It's my job.
It's Crypto Cringe. He's completing his tasks very effectively.
So, if I remember my date correctly, Federal Reserve 1913, unless it was 1918, I have certain numbers that get jumbled up because of the stock market crash that throws some other numbers in at me. I think it's
I
1913.
believe it's 1914, but that is only because in my with all this time, I've been reading The Beast from Jekyll Island, but I could be
The
wrong.
creature?
The creature. Thank
Creature?
you. I've been reading it. Tell me the title of what I've been reading.
The creature from Jekyll Island.
Creature from Jekyll Island. Perfect.
But I was right.
Oh.
December 23rd, 1913.
Oh, because it's December. Well, that's almost January.
Okay, so yeah, the creation of the Federal Reserve, December 23rd. What's important about that date? 25th is Christmas. So if you bring the house together for anything important on the eve of Christmas Eve, everybody's out of town.
Correct.
So you want to make sure that if you're the bankers and you put something really important together, that you want only the people that you want to yay or nay to be present to pass whatever that thing is. So the Federal Reserve Act brings our modern system of junk money into play. And we saw something very similar happen at the end of last year. It was historic, and it was forever changing the way that everything else in crypto would play out. And people would say, well, yeah, you're just looking at it from a United States centric perspective. And that's not really the case, because if you think about the countries that are heavy handed with regulation in crypto and those that are not so much, we're the only one that is a world power to fear on this level. All the others can kind of shake and bake, change their regulatory direction at will. You know, there's us in China and then everything else.
Right.
And it's kind of sad to see the U.S. in the list with, Iran, Pakistan, and as our, what quality level would you say your regulatory guidelines are? It's kind of sad.
Can we go into how many regulations there are on the simple and humble toothbrush?
Like 87?
It's very
something?
high. It's very
but that's the European Union. They're even worse.
That's true.
In fact, this is the week. No, next week they're wanting to ban proof of work cryptocurrency, meaning they want to ban Bitcoin.
That's
because they hate technology. We're out of order though. Okay, so December last year,
many such cases. Okay.
Yes, FinCEN, Financial Crimes Task Force, FATF, the other stuff, the SEC, and a couple of other 3 and 4 and 5 letter agencies all coordinated these sneaky, slimy little changes to cryptocurrency regulation. And they did it in such a manner that, just like when the Federal Reserve Act took place, that nobody was paying attention and nobody was raising any heat about it. And that's the way that it needed to get through. Now, just like what COVID did to 2020, our ability to absorb and therefore basically just ignore, crucial changes in the market, things that have been happening since the last month of last year going into 2020 would have been the most glorious, euphoric things for the good side of the crypto market and the most devastating blows to the crypto market any other time in history.
Correct.
So there's this pitiful, pivotal, but yeah, pitiful too.
But also pitiful.
Yeah, absolutely. That time, I could go back through and give you, all the key points of what those agencies did. But that's not really the point of bringing it up now. It just that to me set the stage, and it was because of the timing of what PayPal was doing. So you have PayPal. I think they were announcing October, November, but it could have been different. I'm not looking at my notes.
I thought it was a little bit earlier, but they were saying it'd be quarter. Were they saying it would be quarter 2 of 2021?
No, not that early. Oh, gotcha. Yeah, for
They were
2021. Right.
announcing that it was going to be like
Right.
Q2 of 2021, and then they just hard launched in
Right,
Q4
exactly.
of 2020. Like, hey, we know we were going to do this, but if you check your app after an update, you got the crypto button. You're welcome. That's
Right.
not what you said you'd do.
Absolutely.
Thanks. We were planning on investing to enjoy that that jump of the new market, the new members to the market, and instead you just kind of launched hard. So thanks for that.
Yeah. Yeah, they announced their pilot program and then, secretly just added the button to 300 million American accounts or however many they've got potential.
Potential.
So, and a lot of people don't know. Well, should I mention that? Yeah, I should mention that. I actually knew about it a lot earlier than that because of our connection with Paxos in the US.
Right.
They're actually the ones that are providing the platform and the regulatory clearance for PayPal to do their thing.
Hashtag not sponsored by Paxos, but Paxos, let us know. Give us a call.
Give me some money,
please.
We have no sponsors.
I'll literally put it back into your platform.
Yeah, quite literally. We are not sponsored. We are sponsored by greatness. But anyway, so yeah, there was the whole PayPal thing. It was a big deal. People overlooked it like it wasn't such a huge deal, but it was. I think Binance US announced like it was, a huge amount of volume that came to them as a result of, the new awareness from the PayPal announcements. There's a lot of money that flows in and out of crypto that people don't know about or may not understand because a platform like PayPal, at least I think through still now, I don't do any crypto through PayPal. But you still, just like Robinhood, you can't unload it and you can't deposit and withdraw. You're just buying your access to their funds. But that doesn't mean that crypto isn't being purchased on chain. So for PayPal to do something like that in the US, they still have to have the same kind of clearances, regulatory clearance that an exchange would have. So since Paxos already has that really difficult version of things to get the New York regulation, they're basically able to provide that as a financial services thing to other platforms that apply for it. So that was a pretty cool move. But what that means is that the volume is moving out of things that are also connected to the flow through Paxos. You have Paxos Gold, which I believe is it's either on the main Binance or both Binances. I don't remember if it's on US or not. But Paxos also makes the BUSD, the Binance's fake version of a Tether. Okay, Tether people are gonna get all crazy about that, and people that hate Tether will be all crazy about that. But
Tether,
it's a copy
Tetherites
stablecoin.
are a very strange group.
Yes,
it's hard to pin down what they believe in, but they'll tell you what they hate real fast.
Absolutely, very true. So there's all that stuff that happened. It happened a lot. It made a big difference in things. There are other things that also happened, and what we had was an environment where PayPal is kind of the example. If Satoshi were to actually speak towards this, it's kind of the anti-Bitcoin. And it's ironic because of what we're going to speak about next. Well, next, not the very next thing.
Yeah, we're coupled with that.
Because PayPal is digital money, and it works. People can hate it, but for every person that's like, I'm never getting PayPal tech support, and they were in here. There's 10 million other people.
You clipped out and got real quiet. Do you want to give us that impression again?
Man! Yeah, it's for every one person that has their issues with tech support, there's 10 million others that are using it constantly and having no problems.
Right.
So, but the issue with PayPal is that it is a third party. They are a platform through which you transact, and they're digitally handling the really complex stuff of going from your money to somebody else's and charging a fee for it. And Satoshi saw that, if we were ever going to have honesty in money and a better money, then we need to get rid of the third party. And he's not the only one that thought that. He's just the one that saw the way to solve those problems.
Right.
So the fact that crypto was getting a boom, not from 10 years of people not having any clue how to do anything about mass adoption, but it's PayPal that comes in and starts the boom. So a lot of people, not only hate on that, but they deny that that's actually what was taking place. And I'm sorry, that's what was happening. So next thing being Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy. Okay. Prior to 2020, even though MicroStrategy has been around since the late 80s, I would challenge the majority of people in crypto whether they had ever heard of either. It's a public company. It's a research and analytics company. They do software programming and analytics for companies to be able to learn from data that other people are not smart enough to look at. Michael Saylor being an MIT dude, very, very smart. He actually partnered with one of his classmates at MIT early on to do the crazy math stuff that they do with MicroStrategy.
Right.
But he was looking to his left, looking to his right, and doing exactly what he does, which is analytics and very smart, very detailed. Micro, could I say? Small details that other people overlook that are obviously effective enough to where, every cycle of, technology and business, the value of his public company is doubling. So, dude knows what he's doing, but he was looking at the numbers as the writing on the wall for 2020 and saying, we have a problem. In fact, the hidden inflation that we're going to head into when the new regime change happens after January is so extreme that the only way for a business to actually profit would be for them to do nothing, release nothing, spend nothing on advertising, and either fire or lay inactive all of their most expensive employees and simply wait until they have a different strategy for coming out of all of the incentive programs. The government spending on X, Y, Z, and all the universal basic income checks. That's not what this is, but it is what this is. Was such a radical inflation not being announced that it was startling to him that nobody was paying attention to what was forever changing in business. And everybody's saying, okay, we're looking at all of our big tech companies, our big public companies. Grocery stores are doing okay. Apple's doing okay. Facebook is doing okay. Google's doing okay. They go through the list of things, pandemic things. Everything's looking fine. Stock market's great.
Right.
Well, okay, when a dollar equals a dollar, and the stocks are going up.
Sorry, that shouldn't be a funny thing, but yeah, when a dollar equals a dollar.
Right. So you're not going to see the dollar is now 90 cents. It's still a dollar.
Right.
So that's your standard. That's your one for one that doesn't change.
Right. It can
but
buy less,
when your
but
stocks
we're
are
going
going
that for now.
Right. So when you see the most important, the S&P, you see the stocks that are going up. They're actually gauging the inflation for you. And he knows the numbers that I don't, but that's what he was looking at. He's like, we're somewhere between 27 and 29% inflation.
Right.
This is hyperinflation. This is one step beyond this, and we're at post World War I Germany.
Right. But Gordon,
that's
one benefit to the inflation is that you'll have higher wages.
I just made 10% more, but everything costs 20% more.
We're going to ignore that. We like what we've got, which is more money. It doesn't matter that you still can't buy a house.
All right. So, yeah, he was looking at, lots of smart things. And the bottom line of that being that, if you're a company that expects to bring in $100 million, then if you're not bringing in 120 plus the adjusted whatever and another 10, 15 million on top of that, then you just lost, 20 something percent more than what your shareholders are expecting. You would have been better not to have to, you'd been better off sitting still and not trying to release anything to market and, accepting, the the benefits of counting your losses.
Right. Yeah, the
and
loss
not
numbers
actually
of 2020 would have been great tax wise.
right.
And you may even be able to, if you're a little bit clever, carry that over to 2021.
Now there's much. I mean, I'm doing a horrible job of explaining this because I'm thinking of there are so many things that happen in such a short period of time.
Right.
It really deserves 4 or 5 hours of critical analysis to really think about what did the smart people have to say about this before the next thing happened.
And I'm
Because
sure
people are so distracted.
I'm sure we'll get there.
Yeah, let's do so. Okay, it's time for coffee. No, but so yeah, so Saylor, Michael Saylor is now on the map. He's looking at things and he says, Bitcoin fixes this. It's the anti-money money. It's the not fiat thing that's going on. It was designed for this. And I don't know if this was really his first real paying attention to Bitcoin. I don't want to misquote anything about him, but I talk and write about him a lot because I think that he is probably historically going to be an important person. And if something bad happens with crypto, it's not going to be for the reason that they tell us. It's going to be something manipulated, something regulatory, something governmental, something, starting a war or avoiding a war.
Just one war, Gordon?
Okay, many, maybe.
Many, several, often.
But the point being is that, this guy has looked at, okay, this is an unprecedented thing that has happened this year. It is manipulated. It is intentionally destroying markets, but we haven't seen it yet. I see it. What can you do about it? And his view was not to, spread out your portfolio among many different things, so whatever crashes and burns, you'll be okay. He's like, no, this makes everything crash and burn. You need a life vest and a, what do you call those boats? Safety boat thing?
Oh, a lifeboat? Is it a lifeboat? I don't know now. I doubt it.
It just seemed too obvious.
Life vest,
Okay, so anyway,
you're right.
you need to float on the small thing before the big thing goes down. Yeah, smart. So, yeah, I mean, he went all in on Bitcoin. He said, okay, we're going to basically shift all of our treasury, our assets over to Bitcoin. And, of course, now there's a side of me as a trader, a day trader, TRADER, not a TRAITOR, as some people equate that to.
Anti-capitalist, anti-America, Gordon Freeman, of course. He's a traitor.
It's just awful.
You don't like Bitcoin. You try to sell it for an inferior product.
No, I just want more of it.
Ethereum to Bitcoin? Yeah, that's how they sound.
If our strategy was a few $100 million to invest in Bitcoin, we might just hold on to it, not risk the times of being in and out of the dips and the peaks.
Right.
And just wait until it doubles again. But for those who need to work their way up, lean into the hundreds of millions of dollars. You're not quite there yet.
Right.
It's very possible that selling at the peaks and buying at the next dips are the only way that you will actually be able to acquire more. That just might be part of somebody's reality. So anyway, Michael Saylor has a very good reason for the strategy that he uses, but basically anything that he can do, if he can reposition their assets to buy more Bitcoin, if he can do a public sale of shares in MicroStrategy in order to convert that into Bitcoin, anything that he can do to get out of the dollar and into Bitcoin, the guy could literally do that and sit put and allow basically, if you think of it as earning interest, Bitcoin has typically over time done anywhere between 20 and 200% up at the same rate that the dollar has typically gone down from 2 to 7%. Unfortunately, in the past 7 months, we're talking about an extra 27%. So that's substantial enough to wipe real industry out. So he not only saw this as a lifeboat for his own strategy, which I believe was $1.3 billion worth of Bitcoin at the time.
That is correct.
He's now, he's got over 100,000 Bitcoin now on the books for MicroStrategy. Which, if you think out of 21 million, that's pretty darn good. This late in the game, there's not a whole lot of 100,000 Bitcoiners.
No.
That's pretty awesome. But yeah, he took it serious enough to where he did corporate conferences teaching people, here's the different ways that you can use Bitcoin for your company. How are you structured? Where can you use it? Can you use it for your bankroll? Can you use it for asset management? Can you look at your P&L and put it somewhere in there? And so really cool stuff. And in fact, it's worth going back those things and kind of giving it a public facing version of that stuff. So then everybody's looking at, he probably bought at 50, he probably bought at 40, probably, so how's it looking now, Michael Sill? You're
Right.
down, $30 million for it. He's like, this is not short term. If
Right.
you're looking at this as anything less than 4 years, really you should be looking at nothing less than 10 years.
Right.
Then you just don't get it. Which I agree. I absolutely agree. 2018 and in 2019, my question mark was, will crypto survive another 3 years? I don't know, because governments are so dumb.
Right.
They don't see the obvious move here. If there's any regulation, you need to circle around China, get things under control, and then let the market work absolutely everything else out. But no, we did pretty much the opposite.
Right.
So we got Saylor, I believe he was 1.3 billion, and as billionaires often do, Elon Musk was jealous that somebody had more cryptocurrency than he does, because he's been mining Doge with his son all this time. I think, does he have a son? His kid. Let's just say kid. I'm
Michael
making
Saylor?
things up. No, Elon Musk.
Oh yeah, Elon Musk has a child. Yes.
Okay.
It's Johnny 12 numbers. We don't know his name. It's unpronounceable.
So Elon is. This is my take on things. Billionaires. What do you do when you have that much? And rockets aren't enough. And what is the brain thing? Interlink brain. Neuralink.
Neuralink.
Upgrading brains just isn't interesting enough. I'm so bored. This guy comes along, 1.3 billion Bitcoin. He says,
Gotta have 1.5 billion.
Of course.
So, Tesla buys a bunch and they say, we're never going to sell. We're never going to sell. Well, only 10% of it just to test the liquidity. Sorry, market. So one of those first dips was actually Tesla testing, in quotes, testing liquidity of Bitcoin. Like, you don't know that you could dump $10 million of Bitcoin a day and the market wouldn't even notice. There's no need to test the liquidity of anything. So anyway, we've got Saylor doing things for good logical reasons, and you got Elon, which my take on it is, jealousy is the reason for his doing things.
Sure.
And I'm going to pause real quick. John McAfee, why don't you tell a very interesting story, and I'll be right back.
Of course. All right. So, in my travels as John McAfee, I've done many an odd job, and sometimes I will drive around town and give people rides in exchange for what some call money. And I'm not comfortable with the people, if you will.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Did you hear me before?
I didn't.
Okay, that works good. Okay, you're not comfortable with people.
I'm not comfortable with people at all. Not one bit.
But I think you're a people person.
Well, I am, but I also just don't like you.
Well, I don't really know what to do with
Oh no, that's not a good way to start a stream. No, I had some very drunken, rambunctious, experimental couples in the back of my vehicle, and they decided that they were going to be so drunk they just abandoned their phone, and that began an evening of trying to track them down.
Oh my goodness!
Via Uber's
what a waste.
system. I got a whopping $15 out of it, but I finally got a very inebriated bald man FaceTimed that phone, and I was fortunate enough to answer it and have him make contact with the owner. And
Inebriated bald man.
We finally got together, got our phone back the next day, and I, John McAfee, go out and pick up a completely different group of people. And who's in that group of people? Girl who left her phone in my vehicle the day previous.
That would have saved some time.
Completely different part of town, just very, very random. She was very thankful that I found it. Told me she was going to tip me an exorbitant a very large amount of
A
money.
lot
Whole bunch.
more.
Guess what she tipped me?
$3.
Nothing.
Oh,
She's like,
nice.
it was gonna be $1,000 for me to get another phone. Thank you. I'm gonna tip you $1,000. I was like, I doubt that you're going to, but thanks.
Maybe it's still coming.
Maybe it's still coming, but I was taking them to the Battery in Atlanta.
Oh,
But her pre-gaming self got the wording wrong. You know what happens when you type in the Buttery Atlanta? It brings you to a place in like Buckhead called the Buttery. So
there's
we
the place.
overshot our mile our mark by like 18 miles. So I earned more, but I didn't get my $1,000 tip. So moral of the story is stay sober and stay vigilant.
Very well. Very good.
That's what happens when you tell me to tell a story, and I don't
Good
know
story.
how long that story needs to be.
I apologize for that.
It's-
Yeah, sometimes things happen.
It's okay.
In fact, my my radical move to the mute was for somebody that is going to be traveling on the road, so I want to make sure they'd be safe. So, superhero stuff.
Oh gosh, yeah, you are.
Sorry. Yeah.
Not all heroes wear capes. Some wear suits that have been acquired from their previous employer.
So we got the whole Elon Tesla
Musk,
thing.
$1.5 billion. His son, Johnny 12 numbers, just being kind of petty, racing to space. We could feed all the people in the world, but no, let's blast into the space, into the star. I'm not I'm not even a humanist or environmentalist. My gosh. Could we feed the people?
A little bit.
Set up some infrastructure, not just
Little bit.
solar-powered planes flying around after dropping cell phones, so that people can, get onto their Coinbase account or Gemini, hashtag not a sponsor, and, and get that crypto.
We get paid nothing. Nothing.
Nothing. But the number of people watching it are also nothing. So I think that tracks.
That's going to change. It's going to go from 0 to 60 in 3 years at least.
Oh,
or less.
Oh man,
So-
why you got to be talking about my other?
So he makes the announcement.
He makes the
Tesla will accept Bitcoin for payments, and everybody's like, oh,
yeah,
that's fantastic.
just like that.
So my twist on this is the powers that be, and you and I have known about certain things since 2011-ish or so, and studied a great deal about them. This is not the conspiracies that people go chasing their tails on. This is the real history that you just don't get taught, and you find things in people's own words and the actual documents that go along with those things, and you don't have to wonder what people were thinking at the time.
Right.
All of that to say that, climate change has become a very big thing since the early 90s, and it's been disputed on both sides vigorously, but there's a very powerful movement behind that, a very political one, very money-driven thing, and Elon is a very front-facing public persona in the energy field, in the technology field, and in the government subsidy field. Not just in the state that he's from, not just in the country that he's from, but in foreign countries that have a lot of interest in smashing us with their technology, like China.
Right.
So he is a very politically involved, politically motivated, some might even say to a secret society level. It's just the truth. He's playing on that level. It doesn't just happen because he has some neato ideas or acquire a company that has good ideas, as is the case with him. So immediately after the Tesla announcement, we're going to take Bitcoin, comes down the crushing ESG, environmental initiatives, green energy stuff.
Right.
So-
and that's not. I mean, it's not like Elon could have known that was going to occur.
I couldn't. Do we plug cars in, and where does that energy come from?
And where have those policies been pushed the most? And the states that have the most antiquated infrastructure of all the others.
And how many poor children does it take to plug in a lithium?
Ooh, we'll have to ask Canada about that one. They got a lot of nickel, a lot of nickel.
Oh, Canada.
Other than of course, no longer having elections until COVID stops and we can figure out exactly what's going on. And there, sir, I said the word. Now we're gonna have truth.
Oh,
Oh
no.
man, to
Oh,
quote
I
another.
think I said it, didn't I?
You probably did. For the purpose of the for the internet, we're gonna call it the Kyogre virus, and I'll explain to Gordon why later. Yeah,
My
but
Kahuna.
shout out to the Knowledge Hub for bringing us the Kyogre virus. That's top notch. And dang it, I think I just did a masonry symbol and I didn't intend to. Darn it!
All right, so
Just
Elon comes
yeah,
back in as if he wasn't even aware of prior Elon,
right,
and says we're revoking uh, Bitcoin payments for
right.
Tesla until we can get a handle on all the horrible energy robbing, uh, resource depleting, Bitcoin mining, grotesque, horrible, terrible things that I've been doing as a hobby with
Many
my
such
child.
adjectives, yes.
Yeah. So ESG green initiatives, no more payments for Tesla, and the market reacts. Now, this is around the time, I don't remember the exact order of events, but I thought that was very interesting that at the same time that, we have Elon, who is doing a lot overseas with China. People are catching on to that a little bit better now. That China is testing one of the large provinces that are known for being a huge percentage of the actual mining of Bitcoin. Had what happened? A coal mine event happened that
Oh, that's
was a
right.
power
I
cut in
recall.
that region. And there was a whatever percentage of the Bitcoin mining network was down by that amount. And we got to see for the first time real numbers about just how much of the Bitcoin network was taking place in that region in China. So ESG comes in right around the time that the coal mine thing is happening, and mining. There's a little bit of irony there, but the truth of the matter is, energy meets energy. They're in the sector. It has nothing to do about the climate change stuff. It has everything to do about where the money goes with solar and um, uh, all the other stuff, the charging stations,
Right. All the infrastructure.
uh, right, and the hydropowered and all the different things that are options. So that was another unnatural dip taking place. So in addition to that, now we have Elon saying, it doesn't hurt the environment quite as much in mining as Doge. Doge. That's really I have fun mining it with
Hold on,
my
my
kid. It's
my
great.
apologies. I don't recall that occurring. Did he actually come out and say what hurts the environment slightly less is Doge?
Yes, in fact, he took it to the point of saying, I'm going to talk to the Doge development team, which is where everybody on crypto Twitter laughed hysterically because are
Because
there
the
any
meme?
developers?
Because the meme?
Well,
Okay.
because the guy that created Doge left the project 2.5 years ago, first of all. Second of all, it hasn't had a single update on GitHub for that length of time.
Right.
So there, somebody needed to hold the mirror up to see whether there was anybody breathing on the developer side of Dogecoin. But Elon said, "I'm going to make it 100 times faster and 10 times more efficient, and transactions are going to cost less, and all this kind of stuff." And everybody's just freaking out, like, "Do you not understand Doge? And don't you mine Doge?" And so anyway, we have Doge, which is, in all honesty, without any intervention at all, it struggles to stay being worth about 1/27th of a penny.
Not to get us off track at all, but when do we want to have the conversation about Doge and
Um,
like what it
Once we know
is?
that people are actually listening to anything and we got some people following, then we should just Doge, 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 Doge,
Okay.
Doge.
I mean, I'm not opposed to having the conversation multiple times.
Oh yeah.
You wouldn't happen to
It,
have the white paper available, would you?
I don't. But yeah, let's make it an actual segment
Oh,
for several times.
okay.
In fact, one time, like if we do a marathon stream and there's thousands of people sitting anxiously on the edge of their seat to be a part of it,
Right.
then we will pull out the Satoshi and the Doge white papers and compare the two. Because that's the kind of nerdy
I look
fun.
forward to it because that's
Okay,
good.
yeah, that's good stuff. So yeah, the green stuff, nobody was buying it inside of the circle, but the shill news that we have as mainstream media is just absolutely pitiful. They all jumped on the same. I mean, you can tell somebody said, "Here's the list of things that your article needs to be." Editorials, mainstream articles, all the different stuff was just absolutely ridiculous. The points they made about Bitcoin and energy and how it's just going to blow up the universe. Just the most ridiculous stuff. So now, the problem is that Elon, whether it's autism or quite literally billions of dollars are either stagnant or pouring out of Bitcoin, which
Right.
is, globally an important asset at this point. You can love it or hate it or think it's antiquated technology, which it's not, but it matters. Economically, it matters. Lives and futures of entire markets are going to hinge on whether Bitcoin succeeds at this point. Doge is cute. Doge is funny. Doge is something that you can pump and make a lot of money from. I'm not trying to rhyme funny and money at all. It is funny money.
That is
But-
funny. Oh, it is hilarious money.
It is intentionally designed to lose value at a regular duration.
That's right. Exactly how many Doge flood the market every single year?
I don't remember. A billion?
It's 6 billion.
6 billion.
6 billion Doge every single year to purposely, in its white paper, it is outlined to devalue the currency. Now, another fun segment that we're going to have is where we compare Doge as an offering and the US dollar as an offering. There's a real unfortunate truth there. Big spoiler. Doge is a better currency outlined.
Oh,
I know.
it's just not right.
I know. It's awful.
So many
No,
things.
we'll have. I don't want to.
That'll be great.
I don't want to promise overlays, but we'll have like a picture or something.
Good idea.
We'll have something. We're really banking on the blind listeners.
So yeah, we're at Doge and the pump is happening.
Mhm.
Now, previous pumps have been, can it get from, a fraction of a penny to a penny? Yes, that happened. Can it get from a penny to 2 cents and then to 4 cents? Yes, all those things happened. Doge to 10 cents was one of the huge pumps, and I looked at it, and at that time it would have taken $1.3 trillion to get it there.
Mm-hmm.
So it took a lot longer than people that were pouring their money into Doge thought it would. But once you get billionaire status in on it, and I'm telling you, I mean, there is not enough money in the world for the things that have happened between Bitcoin and Doge to happen without massive manipulation. And,
Right.
and you know what? Everything that happens in the economy is manipulation. It is. Whether it's intentional or not, whether it's stocks or commodities, any area that you want to look into, manipulation happens as a natural byproduct of interest in things or assets. So I don't care about that. Deliberate manipulation that harms people, I care about. I care a lot about it, and especially from somebody who is a narcissist seeking attention from everybody on all fronts, and does actually literally take the opinions of us peons seriously.
Mm-hmm.
I have an issue with the kind of things that he's done this year. So I was on the fence about a lot of things with Elon and his personality. I'm not anymore. I'm very anti the thought behind the strategy of the person.
Right.
Not okay with it. So the Elon Doge pump is taking place, and the message at this point is to take it from sub 20 cents up to 40, up to $1. Doge is going to $1. So the Robinhood never spent a dime on anything of value in my life, but now I am a professional trader crowd.
Right.
Jumped on the bandwagon. The mainstream media all knows about Doge now, and he's going to go on Saturday Night Live. And when he goes on Saturday Night Live, it's going to pump, 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 and it's going to go sky high to the moon and beyond. At this point, it's going to be Doge to Mars. It's going to go to $1.
We got a saying about that, don't we?
You say it.
Oh, is it buy the rumor, sell the news?
There you go.
Oh no!
That's the one.
I said the words.
So I was a lone voice in the wilderness, not to get biblical about things, but it was a very painful, lonely time because prior to the 42-cent thing, I was saying, you guys, you know that this is the pump. You are the people that are piling on. The reason that you went to your Robinhood and put $100 in there and said, I'm going to make $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
If that was your only 100, that was your move.
Right.
Unless you've got another 100 that you're going to borrow from somebody and put it in Saturday night,
right,
while the show is playing. That was it. That's why buy the rumor, sell the news is a thing.
Right.
Because when they're saying it's going to go to $1, that's the pump.
Right.
That's when you and all your friends, if you had to borrow from your parents to put $1,000 into Doge, it went up a tiny little blip. But you had tens of thousands of people who know nothing about cryptocurrency. They don't know the difference between Doge and real coins. They don't know that it's funny, but it's the future. Elon's telling us that this could be real money. This could be the one. Not horrible, energy sucking Bitcoin. Not the evil one, but this fun, cute dog thing. So put your money in that. So, there was $57 billion of volume in Doge, whose creator was so sickened by all of the Elon shilling that he actually came out of hibernation onto crypto Twitter, say, excuse me, Elon is a self-indulgent something bad. And, I'm going to go hibernate again. I'm going to mute while I cough.
All right. So while he's muted, while he's coughing, I will cough so that you can know what it would be like if Gordon were to cough. COVID. That's what it would be like if he coughed. And
I'm healthy and strong.
He's withering away to nothing. That's the Kyogre virus.
I got nothing. You got nothing on me. So it's really funny to watch the Bitcoin price as we're talking about Doge. It's like it felt the pain.
Yeah.
But it's actually just doing a mirror of what it did before.
I could have.
It'd be fun when we actually.
I'm just looking at a reflection of myself right now. But I suppose I could have up the charts, the information.
Well, you could certainly have something though.
Well, I've got. It's not a bad face to look into.
Do you think that people think that I'm a ventriloquist?
There's nothing moving.
I'm an extreme minimalist with my mouth movement.
So minimalist.
So Elon goes on SNL, and there are dozens and dozens and dozens of YouTube live streaming watch parties of people that are sudden experts in cryptocurrency, getting all their friends together, and the cameras are on them. It's a watch party. We're not actually seeing the show, but what they're doing is they're showing the price of Doge and whenever Elon's going to say something. And wouldn't you know it, they're waiting to watch. It is now done from 42 to 72, and I'm telling you that was the pump. And I'm typing all week. Rumor, news, that was the pump. Get your money out. That was the pump. Doge is not the future unless Elon's actually going to go in and reprogram it not to lose value constantly.
Right.
So what happens? It goes down from 72 to 50, and the watch parties were not quite as the right kind of entertaining. So people are supposing, well, maybe it's the next thing. Maybe it's the next thing. And the week and the next days and weeks are kind of pitiful to watch. People are saying like, Elon? Elon, could you please type some?
Could
my mommy and daddy's savings is $10,000 in the hole in Dogecoin. And you said you're going to get together with the developers and then send it to Mars, and now it's inside of a pit in the center of the earth.
Sorry, April 1st, did we end up putting Doge on the moon? Did we do that? Did we put a physical Doge on the moon?
Oh, it pains me. I think that there is an independent technology company that paid $1 million something
No.
to send something
No.
to send it to the moon. Yeah.
No.
There's actually a Bitcoin one and a Doge one, and I remember nothing about them except they exist.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, that was part of the buy the rumor period of time as well.
Ugh.
So yeah. So what happened? It did not go to $1. It had already hit its peak at 72 something, and it came back down to 40, and then 30, and then 20, and it bottomed out at 18. And then when it went from 18 to 23, everybody was sure that it was going to go to $1 that time.
Right.
People, if your money is in Doge, and it has now gone down less than a third of the value, unless you have that much money to do it all over again, and you coordinate the efforts yourselves this time,
Right.
because Elon would actually get in trouble if he did it at this point.
Nah.
That's the only way that it's going to go above 30 this time around. It's going to take a fresh $100-200 million for it to get above 40 the next time around. I'm not saying that it won't happen. Somebody could come in and reprogram it. I'm not going to say it doesn't happen, that it could happen enough before the next execution of its value and its depreciating monetary structure.
Right.
But the point being that it's designed to fail because it's funny and cute.
Mm-hmm.
So now that it has such a large market cap, it is extremely difficult to get it over those hurdles. And it's in the same way that Bitcoin has gone from its peak at 64,800 something down to the low 30s. 50% of its all-time high is still 10 times more than its lowest point last year.
I'm looking at
Bitcoin is looking pretty strong.
I'm looking at
3,800.
I'm looking at Bitcoin versus Doge, their charts, and just the similarities are.
It says a lot.
Oh gosh.
Okay, so then next we have the Bitcoin conference, which it was in Miami, and Miami is very, at least on the surface, very pro technology, pro crypto. It was the largest turnout. It was very high energy, maybe a little cringe energy, as we'll see. And in the midst of the Bitcoin conference, I wish I could remember exactly at the time. A lot of people know more about this than I remember. But there's somebody who I'm absolutely certain was paid by Elon's folks to interrupt the Bitcoin conference, to run up in the center stage and tear off his clothes to reveal the Doge, and to yell how Doge is going to go to the moon, and then gets pulled off the stage. It's, complete cringe in all form.
Oh gosh.
But a lot of people were very down on Bitcoin at that point because of its performance, but also because you now have thousands of new people who know nothing but Doge.
Right.
And now that Doge is doing what it is it's because of the Shiba Inu coin.
Right.
Yes, that's what it is. It's the new the new Doge. It's even more cool meme doginess than Doge, the king of Doge.
Of course.
And so whatever money people have left, since their 42 to 72 cent range is not coming back for some time, they start spending other, pizza money on Shiba.
Right.
And so they start making these others. There's I not follow these, so if they've been around, then they've just been waiting for this moment. But there's Baby Doge, and there's just one after another after another.
There's Leash. Yeah, at some point we're gonna do a full breakdown of the atrocity that is Bitcoin to Doge to Sheeb to Leash and the other just spider web of crap meme coins that are out there. But I
don't mean to dog on them.
Oh my gosh. That was terrible. Thank you. I think it'd also be interesting for us to do a just kind of a memorial to what Binance used to be, because that Doge, that Sheeb, that I haven't checked. I'm checking now. That Leash. I don't know if Leash is on here, but that Sheeb is on Binance, and that you can actively trade it against USDT is just fallen heroes, man. I mean, just how far we've come. from what used to be a really solid market. It
Mhm.
breaks my heart a little bit to see just how far Binance has fallen.
We will absolutely do an episode about that because we have suffered through the growth,
Mm-hmm.
and we have, and then I have mostly watched the demise as
Yes.
they have, CZ has become the shill artist that people
Right.
accused him of. When I absolutely believe that there is something that has changed course. I don't believe that it was always the same course.
No, not at all. Something changed. Maybe.
Yeah.
It was Binance US, director, dancing with the basketball teams. Maybe that's what
I
changed
think
the
that was
course.
literally playing us. I think that was an intentional joke on us,
You think that
honestly,
was
because
just, hey, America, we made you one. It's garbage. You're welcome.
I mean, she has an actual background in finance and knows better than what she's talking about, and she did literally nothing but play the social card that entire time. They didn't try to on-ramp any of the really easy states
Right.
to get the regulatory clearance. They had like 13 states the majority of the time. I'm sorry, man, but I mean, if Robinhood can beat you by 2 years,
Right.
and they still aren't even trying on deposits and withdrawals, but
Well,
that's a whole other thing. But
maybe
yeah,
Robinhood, and this could be a different conversation, but maybe Robinhood beat them because you don't actually own cryptocurrency. Robinhood owns it. You're just leasing it from them.
right. Or the brokerage means that they're literally just shopping the Bitcoin volume from others.
Right.
But I don't even know what their storage side of things even looks like. But anyway, so the Bitcoin conference, it's getting a lot of criticism, and what we're seeing is that Elon has really kind of done what Russia is so good at in pitting groups against each other. And I think that we saw the true nature of what a lot of this stuff was about. Was from the regulation, all the way back, we're talking about the things that were happening with FinCEN and FATF and the SEC towards the end of the year. It was really kind of laying the groundwork for what I now see all the shill and the conquer and divide, and we need more regulation because young people are getting screwed by GameStop and Dogecoin and all these kind of things, and we need to protect them more from these markets and all this kind of stuff. And Bitcoin, meanwhile, it takes real global levels of 24/7 volume kind of money
Right.
for it to make it up the months and months and months that it climbed to the 60s. It really and truly, for the betterment of mankind, and I'm not saying that in a light comical way, for the better of humanity to get through 20 and 2021, we need something like that to actually be able to gain while there's still as much volume as there is.
Right.
And we'll talk about this later, but I have done the numbers, and I do feel like there's probably a handful of people that can look at this with a fair assessment and say, even if I didn't own any Bitcoin, if this is actually going to still be more than, let's even say, a third of the market, not even half of the market, but let's say, if a third of the market is going to continue to be Bitcoin, it is the one to watch because it is an actual scarce asset and people are now taking it seriously. Even if I think that it's crazy to put that kind of money in programming, that there is nothing central that can fix the entire network if something goes wrong.
Right. Well,
Even if I think that that's a
something
crazy
big has gone wrong, Michael. I haven't visited Binance in a minute, but I'm looking at their 24-hour volume. Sheep is 61 million USDT.
and people have lost all reference for what a big deal that is.
That's huge. I remember. I mean, there were coins on here years ago that sometimes were half a Bitcoin. Half a Bitcoin in volume,
Right.
and now you've got a crap coin of a crap coin at 61 million, and the one it's based off of is at 199 million, and Bitcoin is just sitting pretty at 1.5 billion.
Right.
And that's
Now,
probably
it's been
low.
a year and a half. It's been a year and a half since the first time that Bitcoin, I think, was over $800 million, if I'm remembering correctly, on Binance 24
Right.
against USDT. And once it broke a billion, it was a very short time before it broke 2 billion. and it once again just on Binance,
Right.
against
We're just
USDT.
talking Binance. We're not talking all other markets, but Binance
Right.
is still the largest global cryptocurrency market available as widely as possible. And this is what now? This is without the European Union's ability to use Binance. Is that correct?
They're just doing that stuff, so I don't know where the ban stands.
Okay.
I just kind of chuckled to myself when I saw the
Right.
announcement because I was like, okay, so you guys are going to know what this felt like.
Yeah. Well, it's
but it's also, yeah, go ahead.
oh, just there's so many people still using VPNs, and I think that again, that's another subject for another day. But just the dangers of the dangers of using a virtual private network to access Binance. A short story: if you've got a lot of money there and they realize you're using a VPN, they can take it, and you have absolutely no recourse because you've been banned. There's nothing.
And especially now that they're actually being investigated by our agencies.
Right, which, thanks for that.
Yeah.
Not you, personally, unless...
they're much more likely to say, hey, we warned you.
Right.
I don't know where your crypto went.
Oh, no, I mean, it's ours now, but, we don't know where it went, but it's ours, probably.
So, yeah, through all that stuff, BTC is now the uncool thing that all it was the boomer coin.
Right.
And it's so antiquated, and Doge is the future. Now, this is all, I'm not even talking about it in the NFT stuff, because it's a separate market that is, I think it's great that there's a new technology that is causing appreciation for the art.
Mm-hmm.
I do. I think that it is wrong to have a perspective that something that is not in a classical cultural heritage way, a totally not woke kind of thing. If Van Gogh was alive and he was painting one of his famous paintings, it was not worth $60 million, $70 million on that day.
Right.
Dude died poor. There's something that the art world looks back upon the Picassos and the movements of art, the Van Goghs and the movements of art, the Leonardo, the Michelangelos
right.
of the art world. There was a significance at all those periods of time that the further you look back on history, the more they gain real value for real reasons. It's an asset class. It really is.
Right.
It's irrational for somebody to take a 3D rendering out of a free 3D program like Blender and spin it around and say something clever in digital code letters or a matrixy thing and expect somebody to spend 13 Ethereum on it.
Right.
Somebody spends 45 minutes rendering something that they only half worked on, and people outside of that have never done 3D vector stuff, they don't know what went into that grand idea.
Right.
But also, I can right click on the GIF just like anybody else and download it, and there was literally no effort. There wasn't even buying the cheap print for $50 instead of the original for $20 million.
Right.
It's literally free to everybody instantly when they release it. But, that is a whole different thing. But the point being that as we had the rise of the poop coins, we also had the rise of the NFTs. And as if it was already some kind of established market. And it was at a very important time for something that is a real asset, the top asset in its class, in a class that is still getting its regulatory framework for the first time. This is kind of like, in politics, we're at 1776, and, people are looking at the value of land in Venezuela. You're missing the historical point about where we are in money in 2020 and 2021. And that's, not a slight to Venezuela, but can anybody argue?
Church's chicken, kid.
The relative nature of that, and this is off the cuff, so I have no idea if that even makes sense. But so we're at the Bitcoin conference, and it really, there was a lot of great brain energy going on. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of cringe, okay, but there are a lot of really good points being made. And even, I'll mention one point that a lot of people did not get. To have Kevin O'Leary on the stage to play the bad guy and ask the tough questions about regulatory issues with green energy initiatives. And people that are pro Bitcoin are in a camp where they're kind of being manipulated to say, "Oh, bad guy, how dare him, bring up this stuff on stage." I'm like, did you listen to the words he's saying? Because he's saying, this is a guy that has already been saying, I'm, making 4 or 5% of my portfolio cryptocurrencies, and of
Right.
course, the majority of that is Bitcoin. But devil's advocate, there are a lot of people. Institutional money is not going to enter into Bitcoin unless you can answer these questions. What are you doing about the green stuff? So they had good answers to that stuff, and people demonized O'Leary, and then other people were just saying, "Oh, the whole thing's cringe, and Bitcoin is for boomers, and the future is NFTs and dogs and memes and cotton candy." And the significance on the last day of the Bitcoin conference, Jack Mallers of Strike, which is basically the biggest thing is remittance, but basically Strike is the kind of popular public-facing um, representation of the Lightning Network.
Mhm.
And if there's any area that I'm a little under researched on, I'm not an expert in the layer 2 stuff, but I understand that basically when you need more transactions to happen faster and cheaper, you need a layer 2 solution if your base layer is not going to change it in the code. So Lightning is basically allowing a lot more traffic to happen off chain that is then resolved in bigger packages of information. So in a very few transactions, you're trading a little bit of security for losing the bottleneck of what is it, like 7 transactions a second on chain on Bitcoin. So Jack Mallers, he kind of reminds me of Michael J. Fox in Back to the Future. He's
Okay.
got this like,
My voice changed, so I'm a man.
no, but I mean he's a young guy. He's brilliant. He's got all this great energy, and he's extremely well spoken. He's like, I mean, he makes the marketers that also know their tech just look small in comparison. And he has been doing the heavy lifting to help resolve some of the issues that a cryptocurrency is designed to resolve, which is making it cheaper and quicker to not have to use government money. So the big deal with that is that El Salvador is your perfect use case for such a thing, and he's been working with the Salvadorian people, the El Savs. Um, basically, getting to know the people at a grassroots level, unless it's all marketing stuff, which I don't think it totally is. Dude was bawling his eyes out when he was trying to make the announcement that El Salvador, which the president of made the announcement himself in video, um, that they were going to be making Bitcoin. They were going to present legislature to make Bitcoin the official legal tender of El Salvador, which is about as big an announcement as a crypto can make when you have, our government and China, pulling the bandwagon and, creating the creature from Jekyll Island type of legislature at the end of the year,
Right.
paving the way to make everything more difficult to get rid of anonymity and privacy, to make it easy to track everything that is really none of their business. And on the flip side of that, you have a country that has experienced so much corruption and devastation and civil war over the years that they don't even have their own currency anymore. They've already been through it. And so that they see the value in this. And it's, one of the true believers in layer 2 solutions kind of helping to bridge that gap. I think that's a huge deal. So El Salvador becomes the big thing. And then the question is, okay, if Bitcoin is boomer money and all the dog coins are the popular thing, and so there's this divide happening, and we've already been through Elon and SNL and all of the stuff,
Right.
and everybody in Doge is basically stuck at a good 5 to 7x the value of their investment. They have so far to go before they ever see their money back. And Bitcoin is basically at half, which, half of an all-time high that was so extreme from the year before is kind of still really impressive. But, the point being that there's billions of dollars that are locked in, unless people are going to take a loss. And you have the real use case happening with Bitcoin in a country where you have people that, first of all, they have relatives that move to other countries where they get paid for their work, and they send money back to their home at 20%, 30%, 50% markup on commissions, whether it's Western Union or something else. But they also, on the receiving end, um, you have the use case with people from El Salvador that, have to ride the public transportation an hour or two to go pay their bills in person. Um, and, all the time lost, all the money lost. When, in seconds, they can pay with Bitcoin. So just, all these, things that as far as use case, as far as not a lot of things that are as cool in the crypto space happening as something of that nature. But we're already kind of seeing the tribalism, everybody calling each other maxis. You're a Bitcoin maxi, So then, the only
and for our audience, what is a Bitcoin maxi?
yes, it is a maximalist, which I have to admit, until I saw 2021, I didn't take it nearly as seriously as I probably should have. But my assumption was a Bitcoin maximalist meant, okay, Bitcoin is the main one. It was the first. It proved the model, and now it's okay for Ethereum to be trying to accomplish something different. And Litecoin is the lighter version of all these different things. No, maximalism is like all or nothing. You're either with us or against us, and
Right.
you're either insanely for this one thing and reject all other models, and nothing can ever succeed, or we all fail. Maximalism is a little bit too maximalistic. So it is a difficult balance, because I see how important this time in history is for Bitcoin, the actual Bitcoin. And I see the destructive forces that have happened with Bitcoin crash. I mean, Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin BSV, Bitcoin Satoshi's, the damage that they've done to growth in times where growth was really important. But yeah, the division that's happened has been pretty severe, and people have very short memories. So we're literally talking from April to May to June, and we're only in July. But the entire world inside and outside of crypto has already changed more than we have seen in the past decade, and it's done it 3 or 4 times now. In this list that I'm going down, the very next thing that happens with El Salvador, dude goes on a crypto Twitter frenzy. He has found his people, and he's one of us. And they make the announcement that they're working with their their energy companies to create the greenest form of energy to fuel their Bitcoin mining enterprise with their volcano. So it's kind of hard to figure out how with their volcano.
I guess
volcanoes produce heat,
thermal electric energy,
heat, steam.
Okay.
Things. Yeah. I know more from the angle of there is G for a volcano. So that is my technical level of expertise.
So we can expect volcano coin from El Salvador.
There already is, not from El Salvador.
Oh, okay.
But there, yeah, it already happened. But they're taking these beautiful, cool pictures of the steam coming from where they're going to be setting up their the state's Bitcoin mining thing. So it was basically take that, Elon. You want green energy? We got the greenest energy. Meanwhile, Michael Saylor, if you remember way back when, before Elon got jealous and decided that the most important thing for him to do with his life is to mess with the crypto industry.
Mm-hmm.
Saylor said, we got all this green initiative stuff that we got to deal with. I'm going to give Elon a call, but I'm going to call the more important people, which is the miners. And we're going to get everybody together, and we're going to discuss whether people would mind. They don't have to, but would they mind disclosing how much energy they use and what forms those energy come in? And would that maybe be good enough news that maybe it kind of dispels some of the baloney going on in the media? So he creates the Bitcoin mining, not union. Oh my gosh, what was it called? Anyway, he creates a group of Bitcoin miners. I can't believe I can't remember. But So the first thing that they do is they spin it to say that Elon brought together the Bitcoin miners to do this green thing. Sorry, but it was very, very, very Michael Saylor is the one that organized the whole thing. He also allowed Elon the privilege of being on the call. Elon, with his tail between his legs, his Doge tail between his legs, kind of sort of tweeted about it. It's like, cool, might be a cool thing to see. We'll see what happens. But all the press says, Elon creates Bitcoin, mining council. That's what it is, a Bitcoin mining council.
Right.
To counteract, concerns about. So all this stuff. You got El Salvador. You got volcanoes, green initiatives. They have already proven now that the majority of the big mining firms are using more than 50% reusable energy. It's now compared to one of the greenest industries that exists, and there's no actual logical point that you can use to dispute just how good the path is versus all the other stuff.
Right.
So then we come around to there have been two more events from China banning. First of all, it was coming in with others. I can't remember if it was India or Pakistan. I think maybe both. But basically saying that they're going to be banning all businesses from being able to transact in Bitcoin. And that was actually misspun as part of the coal incident from a month or two prior to say that they were banning Bitcoin. Well, I mean, banning the transaction and banning Bitcoin mining are two completely different things. But the story came out together, and within a week of that, China kind of verified the false narrative and said that they're banning mining in the two main regions.
Right.
So fascinating stuff, because at that point in time, we actually see for the first time, once again, the real impact of just how much mining is taking place in China and how much do we want to break that up. So I think the real number ended up being 37% of the world's Bitcoin mining network was from those in China. And
How
the
much again?
glory, I think 37%,
37%.
if I remember correctly. So the wonderful thing about that is that Bitcoin is designed to recorrect the difficulty based on what's going on. So if the hash rate drops dramatically, which it did, more than 20%, maybe closer to 30, and then within a 2-week period of time, it readjusts to whatever that is. So part of the volume being low is the reality of the network. Part of the volume being low is that it's all stuck in dogs and NFTs that I'm sure someday will be worth much more. And there's the worry coming from the stories that have been spun in the news. And not enough voices like Jack Muller and not enough voices like Michael Saylor to be able to drown out the really bad narrative coming from politicians, regulators, and the media. So I believe that that's where we are. And I think one of the most interesting and important things now that we are left to deal with, who knows what happens tomorrow in crypto. But if it stays kind of sideways, kind of stagnant, kind of on its way down, and people are saying, well, don't forget Christmas and don't forget, 2021 is not done yet. But there's a lot of
far
money.
from over. It is far from over, and we've
Right.
seen what one day in 2021 can do to our markets. And don't count 2021 out. There's a lot left.
Right. But it's important to realize that we are the crypto community. And there are leaders and heroes in that community. And historically speaking, these are significant people at a significant time. Don't underestimate them. So we are here to kind of make a big deal out of things that are a big deal. But you're looking at the tribalism, the maximalism. And my hope is that we can show that there is a way to look at the important efforts of different projects, and that just throwing the words scam out there is not an accurate depiction of the people that are really actually working hard on the project that we're doing. But we're also going to be intentionally critical at all the right things, because it concerns me that tech companies that are based around an economic medium that could be considered a currency is really more of an asset, that they understand so little about the fundamental economics of the things that they're designing. And so there's very rarely a time that I find somebody that is actually doing something good with their programming or on their project. Not only are they really smart people, but they're balanced. They understand the economics and they understand the technology, and they actually know what their coin or their project is designed to do. So Crypto Cringe is going to cover the cringiest of cringe things, but we're also going to try to bring intelligent conversation into the especially the tribalism, as it is a big deal now. Maybe it's not in a month, but we're going to talk about those things that we hope kind of bring our fellow crypto friends into the conversation as we go along. So I think that is what has happened just in a few months. And that's not even covering, I mean, that's maybe a good 30% of it.
Right.
Maybe. But I think that
What's up, buddy?
I think that we should celebrate our first episode instead of breaking it up like it would probably be logical to do.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we should hit them with some serious cringe.
Oh gosh, you are an unkind leader to these people.
I'm relentless.
Oh gosh.
But yeah, you should start with the Max Kaiser.
Oh goodness.
Now, I mean, this guy is great. He's been pro Bitcoin for a long time. He is now just like a full-on maxi, Bitcoin maxi. And his high energy at the beginning of the Bitcoin conference was so high energy that it became the meme of cringe. The word cringe was burned into the frontal lobe of all Kryptonians, I'm going to say,
Right.
because Cryptopia really ruined the best word for it.
They did.
But yeah.
So I have not yet seen this clip. I have not heard this clip.
Yes, which makes it perfect, right?
Just preparing my delicate little heart. In comparison to, say, 2014's BitConnect.
I think we're 80% there.
Woo! And I assume it's 2014. I could be wrong, but it feels like that long ago.
Yeah, it's probably not that long ago, but who knows? Between 2014 and 2017.
Well, now,
for sure.
Now I have to, if we're going to be the authority on something, I gotta, when was BitConnect? Google, tell me when BitConnect was. No, 2016 was the initial. 2016 was the initial release. Okay, well. Oh. Okay, all right. Let's see what.
Carlos, where you go?
Oh, yeah. Where is Carlos? Let's get him on here. Carlos, if you're watching, we love you, and we want you here on Crypto Cringe. Reach out to us. Have your people talk to our people. Our people's me.
Wait, let me explain something to you right now.
All right, so I'm hitting play on this. This is Max Kaiser.
Wait, let me explain something to you right now. Okay, here's a $10 bill. This is garbage. This is garbage. Your people in South Africa, you have your rand, right? That's going to zero. That's going to zero. This is going to zero too. Euros are going to zero. The yen's going to zero.
So I'm just terribly embarrassed. I've got our stream all messed up, but I'm fixing it. I'm fixing it now. We're gonna go back. Our faces are covering everything, Gordon. But I've remedied this. Let's go back to before he ripped up some dollars, and we're gonna start again.
I don't think you can do that.
Oh God.
Let me explain something to you right now. Okay, here's a $10 bill. This is garbage. This is garbage. Your people in South Africa, you have your rand, right? That's going to zero. That's going to zero. This is going to zero too. Euros are going to zero. The yen's going to zero. The Chinese currency is going to zero. It's all going to zero against Bitcoin. If you don't understand that yet, you're going to be impoverished. You're going to be on the street. You're going to be begging. You're going to be out of business. You're going to be toast.
Max, do you know that it's a criminal offense to tear up?
Do you know that with the Bitcoin I have, I can buy any freaking senator or congressman I want? I make the laws. He who has the Bitcoin makes the laws, Rand. We're not going to just sit around and let the goddamn congressman tell us what to do. We've got the capital. We make the laws. We've got the Bitcoin. They don't. We got it. They don't. Do you understand?
I got you, Max. I got you. Thank you very much.
He's not wrong. Is the problem?
Right. He's very smart, and it's like taking somebody that has been at this a long time and knows a lot and telling them, okay, you're the show starter, high
Mhm.
energy, smiles, people.
Okay, but I
May
don't.
have taken it a little bit far.
Look, I know the title is Crypto Cringe Show, but I would like to point out he didn't pull out a $100 bill. He didn't pull out a $50 bill. Didn't pull out a 20. He pulled out a 10. I
There you
think
go.
many of us are in the position to rip up a $10 bill. It'd be stupid. Be a waste of
If
money.
you got to make a point.
But if you got to make a point, we could all make a point with a $10 bill. So we're still not at rip up. We're still not at destroy a $100 bill yet. I love the energy, but that was terrible.
Exactly.
Thank you.
You're welcome, and I'm sorry.
Uh-huh.
That should just be my introduction to everything when we're hitting the cringe. So I think that balancing that out with a newspaper clipping that somebody at Brent Tweets,
Mhm.
Brent Tweets on
Brendan
Twitter
McBride?
shared. Yeah.
Got it.
So see what that says.
The
Internet may be.
Maybe
Yeah, go ahead.
just a passing fad as millions give up on it. And this was back in December 5th, the year 2000.
So thank you, James Chapman, because if we have a wonderful reference for, I agree with what Brendan said. I mean, that's where we are.
Mm-hmm.
That's absolutely where we are. But with all the Bitcoin maximalism going on and the Bitcoin conference we've just discussed, there hasn't been a whole lot of energy in other areas that I think deserve some of that. But this is Crypto Cringe. So we need the cringiest of cringe. So let's go. Before there was, what is the word for that pandemic thing?
Kyogre.
Before the Kyogre, there was EdCon in the Ethereum Developers Conference, and nobody knows how to groove and get the party on like Vitalik Buterin. I admit I have called him Vitamin Butterball in the past.
Beautiful.
But I've learned his name, and it's irony because he needs somebody. Please feed him. I know he's poor and he does not have money for food, so somebody please feed him. It's not true. He's got billions.
I was gonna say this. But if I'm remembering the kid from the documentary, this is the Ethereum kid, right? This is the dude who
He was 19 years old in that documentary.
Man.
Now he's like 23
Oh my gosh,
ish, something.
Gordon, I'm old because of the internet
I'm older.
and the titanium inside my body. I am old.
So I hope that this one plays correctly,
All right.
but it just.
This will play just fine. I've fixed our. We're now little faces in the bottom of the screen, and that's fine.
Well, don't forget to make it significant again when the time is right.
Of course. It's a lot of.
See, we freestyle sometimes.
Oh no.
Know your gas limit. Stay within it. Don't make mistakes or get invalid drumped. Yo, not just a brick compiler, change of opcodes. We're here to sustain the scale.
All right, sorry. Quick wrap up. 37 seconds in. Is this the creator of Ethereum who's rapping?
And until we resolve our technical difficulties, I'm not actually seeing what you're saying.
Okay.
But Vitalik is front and center, I believe.
Okay.
Do you look and say somebody give that man a burger?
I actually my brain goes back to late 90s, early 2000s, Bill Gates up in a sweater vest with his boys in polo shirts dancing on stage. Like zero self-awareness of how
I think I grabbed that
cringe
one too
it
to
is.
share with you, yeah.
Okay, yeah. I mean it's in the I don't know what's up with these tech guys who are just completely unaware of how bad it is. At the same time, they're doing this and they have billions, and I'm here with I'm here with you, Gordon. So maybe they know something we don't.
You're a dead man with an imaginary cartoon.
Allegedly dead. I super didn't kill myself. Forever sleep myself. Can't say kill. That's bad. Forever sleep.
Epstein did it.
Epstein.
Okay, so I'm.
Yeah. I've got several. How far?
I don't think Blue Shirt is Vitalik.
Oh, that's not him.
Well, let's let the kids have the
Hey,
song.
the full nodes.
Proof of stake is hard, but what I
Give
do
it.
know is when we learn a shard, we'll change the whole
Hey!
game, though.
E2.0 yo, E2.0 yo, E2.0 yo, E2.0 yo. Shot 3, BLS, and Lamport, and all of this
That's
crypto
Vitalik.
just sets the stage for
Yeah.
Merkle proofs, plasma
Call
chains,
one.
plat
What's
plat.
up?
Seeking snarks coming over.
Is he the one who came on the screen?
Yeah, you'll see the bear dancing behind him.
Okay.
Clap, privacy
He's got,
scaling
like,
in
what
a
is-
snap snap.
Buffalo on
Constant
his shirt?
products oracles. Tap tap. Merkle proofs, plasma chains. Plat plat. Seeking stars coming over. Quack quack. Privacy scaling in a snap snap.
Wow.
Constant products oracles. It's all about the daps.
Unicorn.
Every user, every wallet, every dApp. TK miners, double signers, every villain with attacks. Every channel up.
And sorry, pausing again at 1 minute 19 seconds. This is them pushing Ethereum 2.0. Is that? Am I understanding the sick rhymes correctly?
The illest of the ill. Yes.
Now we've got some dear to us. I'm not going to name names who are all about the Ethereum 2.0.
Uh-huh.
Why do we? This will be a conversation for another day, as many things are. But
Absolutely.
in the short, why the heck do we have a gas problem with Ethereum? Why is it a gas guzzler?
It's so ironic that gas became a problem right when it happened in real life that way for the vehicle people too.
I mean,
But yeah, it's not designed to rationally deal with. That's what I'm talking about when you have somebody that is brilliant to create, like, the internet supercomputer coin. He had a brilliant idea. He understands Bitcoin. He's not anti-Bitcoin, but he thought of programming something that was about programming instead of just could be used for money. And you have people that don't understand their asset class. Vitalik has several different times actually kind of taken some of the out of Ethereum by saying, gosh, can we talk about something other than the price for once? And I mean, if I were making a coin that had, come to be worth billions and billions of dollars, then maybe my reference point of money might change as well. But if you're selling something that is traded on exchange in the 10 billions of dollars every day, one of the things that you need to care about are its value at market.
right.
Sorry, and I know it's an evil thing to say, but money actually counts in, the field of money. So,
What?
this is one of those things that you have to explain to some people about the thing that they're doing. But I like Vitalik. I like Ethereum. Ethereum 2.0, from a positive perspective,
Okay.
is something that they are taking a very cautious, very slow. They're taking their time to redo it because things went so horribly, terribly wrong. The first time that they didn't resolve the spending issue that caused a loop that people were able to steal millions of dollars worth
Right.
of Ethereum that they had to roll back, and those that didn't believe in the new model then forked to keep it as Ethereum Classic.
Okay, yeah, that was going to be my follow-up. Now, is this?
Yeah, so
Are we considering?
well, I haven't finished answering your
Oh,
question, but
my
I'll wait until
apologies.
you.
No.
No,
ahead.
I mean, go ahead and ask it. Okay. So the issue with the gas is that when there is heavy traffic, it incentivizes the network to only take the most expensive transactions. If you have 100 transactions that need to get through, and I've got $150 of Ethereum that I want to push through for 3 cents worth of gas, And the competing coins, I hate to say it, but when you're in a market and the market is about money, there is competition. And if I can send $50 of Litecoin for 2 cents
Mm-hmm.
or $5 million of Litecoin for 20 cents, but it's going to cost me $30 to send $70 worth of Ethereum somewhere.
Right.
Next time I'm in that stuck place, I'm not going to even bother trying to use Ethereum. I'm just going to cash out to Litecoin and move that instead.
Right.
So it's an actual issue. But yeah, the problem is that the network is designed to incentivize, pushing something through. If it's bottlenecked, then they can basically say, I'm not going to waste my time and my computational energy to to deal with your 2 cent transaction.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, it's going to time out, or you can cancel it. It might actually get posted to the network and then just time out. But somebody's willing to spend $20 to get this one through, so I'm going to fight for that one.
Right.
So there's nothing to de-incentivize the miners going through more expensive gas. And there's some people, there are actually people that accidentally spent more in gas than what they were trying to transact.
I do recall this.
Yeah, people didn't actually know what they were doing. They paid 17 Ethereum for a few $1,000s worth of transaction,
Yeah.
kind of thing. And then there were some people that actually intentionally stole. Some of the scammers actually intentionally stole some Ethereum and then paid it in transaction fees just to burn it.
Does Ethereum 2.0 is that are we considering this is it a fork of Ethereum?
Not until the end.
Okay.
The first part of the road, they've already done some of it, and it was supposed to fix some of the gas problems, and it hasn't yet.
Right.
But the majority of what's supposed to happen with Ethereum and becoming proof of stake is that you have people that are already staking for the Ethereum 2.0, but it has not moved to the new chain, which, yes, it is like a real hard fork.
Mm-hmm.
And in my mind, Vitalik, he has the right people working on this, but I think that he's been honest about saying that, at first he was a wreck about it and he was very, very, very concerned and cautious, but now he's very relaxed and trusts what's going to happen, but he's also cautious.
Right.
And it's a big deal to actually take the new model and then actually put it on the new chain where it will happen. But it is a huge experiment that nobody, the more that you know about the economics behind cryptocurrency and the other crowd that knows a lot more than I do about the development and the actual coding, there's not a single person on earth that can tell you what will actually happen when it's there.
Right.
Because there's nothing. The only thing that is bigger than Ethereum is Bitcoin.
Right, and there's certainly something to be said about this kid who, if we're taking it at face value, he's, just some kid who looked at Bitcoin and said, I think I can do better.
Or at least I can do different.
Sure, I can do different, but again, face value, it's just him versus this mysterious Satoshi. Is it one guy? Is it no guy? Is it 5 people? Is it Johnny 12 numbers? We don't know. But
right.
It certainly appears with Bitcoin that there's larger figures at play versus Ethereum, where this kid who's camping out telling people about Ethereum and just kind of being a general stoner about everything, but now he's here and he is the rival to Bitcoin. After,
right.
And then after, of course, you've got Litecoin, which is, that you need one or the other. So it's just to have this kid have his coin associated in the big 3. It's that there's, despite the little girl who's riding an alligator behind them and the cringe fest that's occurring, there's it's not without notice or admiration that, yeah, he's doing something that, no one else was successfully able to do.
Right. Yeah, and I think I am of the belief that people who are not Bitcoin maximalists and they believe the part of the narrative that proof of work was good through the model and to solve the problems that it did and to create a network that was trustless, that bounced things out over a wide range of people, and was designed to prevent a centralized group of overtaking or even being incentivized to the network.
Mm-hmm.
But now its time has come where we care about energy, and it's going to take more and more energy to mine more and more difficulty, and it's going to become a big mess. The future is something other than proof of work. We need to not be burning out the world's computer supply to produce value in the coins. I would disagree to say that there's something in the digitalness of things, the digital nature, that stays in a person's mind as being imaginary. And I know that this sounds trite in comparison to the actual economic model, but belief is like half of the battle. It really is. The fact that Bitcoin works, the fact that Ethereum works, the fact that Doge works,
Right.
is technologically bordering on miraculous.
Right.
Especially in a time where we don't have any two people that agree about anything, let alone the countries.
Right.
The fact that they work is incredible.
I think it'd be an interesting subject matter to chart the adoption of the of the U.S. bill, of the actual paper money from before, when we were using actual coins and gold. Just how long that took to. I guess the next thing would have, unless there's something in between the paper money and actual credit cards. And I'm sure there's something I'm not aware of in that 80-year span or 60-year span, however long it was. But the adoption of credit cards and how long they took to become mainstream, and then debit cards, which it's like a check. You don't have to write checks anymore. I guess checks are in addition to the dollar, but just how long it took for these things to catch on versus how long it's taken cryptocurrency to catch on. Because are we at the 10-year mark yet of Bitcoin?
We are going on 12 years.
We're going on 12 years. Okay, I thought it was. I didn't want. I'd rather you say it rather than me, because I'm someone who's taking a forever sleep and you don't exist. So rather you speak and be right than me. But yeah, I'm John McAfee, and I absolutely did not kill myself. But yeah, we're going on 12 years, and it's already in everybody's pocket who has a cell phone and a PayPal or Venmo or Cash App. The adoption is still occurring, but it is so much faster than anything else that we've ever used. And
absolutely,
this is the term unprecedented is hard cringe now because of the Kyogre virus, but we're living in unprecedented times, and just the swift adoption to these technologies, it's not by accident.
Right.
So it's another.
Yeah, the days of anybody being able to make a valid argument that there is no intrinsic value to Bitcoin has ended. Right. That you cannot make a valid argument that it doesn't have some kind of value.
Right.
And it's not just valued because a lot of people believe in it or have too much money in it.
Right.
It has crossed that that marker, that milestone. But there's a lot more to be said with what you're talking about with Ethereum too, because whether you like Vitalik or are bothered by him, you think that he does a lot of doublespeak and nonsense that sounds smart. I've listened hard to that, and I hear somebody that does actually know what they're talking about. He is one of the fearless people who are at the top, who have been at the center of all of it since Bitcoin's beginning as a really young, smart guy, and is willing to say fraud about that non-orange man. Despite the fact that not a lot of people can figure out exactly what it is that he's doing, but they know that it's a hoax.
Right.
It's not like there is a clear and definitive Satoshi versus Vitalik as the unquestionable heads of the two top coins.
Right.
There's one real guy that has to speak for himself every single day, traveling around the world, trying to, find his own balance of which people in the world are the right ones. I read lots of books, I study a lot of programming, but there seems to be a lot of wackos on, the socialist side of the world and the capitalist side of the world.
Right.
And he doesn't have a whole lot of reason to have developed the life lessons, the political knowledge, the economic knowledge to know who is a young 20-something-year-old supposed to be when they've created essentially the next dollar and the next Mac or PC
Gordon, I
all
need
in
to
the
step
same
away
thing.
for just one moment and entertain our people.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
You can't see me right now, but I'm actually tap dancing, and it's really, really good. You're going to wish that you could see this, but no, that's not actually the case. So,
This song is dedicated to Vitalik Buterin.
there's not going to be a song. I don't want to disappoint. But yeah, more to the same story with Vitalik. I think that he's a good kid. I think that he's done some pretty amazing things, and I'm hopeful that he can show that there can be some stability. And the big complaint about Ethereum right now is that it's headed towards greater centralization, that it is susceptible to manipulation by a centralized group of people, and even some of the proposals for updates and even forks to be done to the model suggest that a small group of people could manipulate it in a certain direction. The thing is that Vitalik is very present, and he speaks to the issues and shows genuine concern where there should be, and looks towards solutions to resolve those things. So, if we were looking to the Bitcoin core programmers to resolve the same kind of issues, there's a whole lot of uproar and tens of thousands of people from nodes to actual mining that could weigh in on whether to allow huge changes to happen to the Bitcoin network. Would they cave to that kind of pressure because of political pressure? I think that there's some that actually could. So there's a balance there, but the fact is that he's a clear and present head of his project. We see him, we hear him, we know where he's weighing in on things, and that's a lot for somebody under 30 that may not have all of the world knowledge or emotional or intellectual knowledge to base his decisions on. And there are excellent programmers that know a whole lot more about the numbers that are involved than I could ever speak to. I know that every time that I study it, I have to go back and study it again. But this is theoretical. This is theoretical stuff. We don't know what we don't know, and anybody that could claim to know more beyond what they think or could theorize, we haven't landed there yet. There isn't a project that has enough happening with it to really prove proof of work, proof of stake beyond the model that we're experiencing. The fact is, we know more about Bitcoin because it's been for more than 11 years that it's doing what it's doing. And even in latest conversations before whoever Satoshi has disappeared from the public eye, from the forums, from the boards, was already speaking to the fact that there would be a time, if it took on, that it would go from individual miners to collectives having to mine with more power, and that it would scale with the speed of the CPUs and the power of the CPUs or GPUs. So there were things that were theoretical that have been proven over years and years and years and years. The theory as proof of stake is something that concerns a lot of people, that you cannot mathematically trick the actual physical hardware real world limitations of a proof of work model. And I think where I lean more towards a maximalist view, a Bitcoin maximalist view, is that I think for something that is intangible, there's something good about some of its value being that visual, physical, and present. And that might sound archaic to people that understand crypto and are in the space that are younger and have grown up on, email instead of relying wholly on physical mail. Growing up where you can watch a movie instantly by streaming it or downloading it or choosing it on demand. You don't have to wait for it to hit theaters and go drive to a physical location and see something in that more organic form. So the instantaneousness and the digitalness of things can also, it's not so much that it cheapens them, but it makes it so instantaneous that it is more in the part of our imagination than it is in our what makes this challenging, what makes this difficult, what makes this hard to obtain and therefore valuable to me. I think that that is interesting. I think that that is it defines a difference between one project and another. So there are other models. There are other models that are coming along. Proof of stake isn't the only other thing, and in fact, proof of thumbs with GEEQ is a really, really interesting project, and it's actually, we're honored to live in a time where people that are studying the technology, looking at the landscape, and kind of charting their own course are coming up with some really smart things. And if you look at the economic theory and the game theory behind these things, we're going to hopefully at some point in time have some really smart conversations with some of those people and learn from them, and also plant some of the interesting challenges in front of them to try to get a feel for where all this stuff is headed. So I think that within the next year we're going to see some substantial moves on the Ethereum side of things. I'm not talking about, I have some inside knowledge about what the price is going to be. It could go way up, it could go way down. We could be sitting sideways for the rest of our lives. But I think that there's going to be significant enough moves in the 2.0 roadmap that it's going to probably further divide the Bitcoin versus Ethereum maximalism. So it's very interesting to see and listen. And has John McAfee returned? He's still gone. Something happened. If something happens to the host, this may stream for a while. So you might want to contact his relatives. Actually, one thing to be concerned about is if I'm still using McAfee virus protection to validate whether a website is safe or not, is there somebody there at support that I can still talk to? Because I don't want to use Norton, but I think that John McAfee may not be returning from his boating accident. I think that that would be the right way to look at this. Can anybody out there in the worldwide internets of the web give me some clarity about what I do to update my McAfee virus protection software?
That's a
Okay,
great
it's getting real.
point. That's a great point you just made. I heard my name, and nothing wrong has ever been said when you associate my name with it. So, of course, I'm back. I'm your host, John McAfee, and nothing bad has ever happened to me.
Mr. McAfee.
McAfee, like when you go to the McDonald's and you get the McAfee.
I'd like a burger coffee, please.
Of course, yes. It tastes
So
all
yeah,
the same.
I went on for a while about Ethereum and Ethereum 2.0 and I think the validity of there being something important and not just proof of concept about proof of work. That Bitcoin relies heavily on something physical and tangible to prove its value, and it'll be very interesting to see what happens as Ethereum gets further in its roadmap and has to prove that staking a certain amount in order to maintain part of the network can actually hold up to the years that have gotten us where we are now. So it'll be very interesting to see in an unprecedented way.
So true.
But should they finish their little rap dance
gosh,
thing?
if you think it's best that they do, you are the
I
wise.
think it's the right thing to do.
Oh goodness, sorry. Minute 19 in. Let's See what this little girl on an alligator has to say.
Every reader, every clap, every phone note, every staker, everyone will interact, and that is that.
Constantinople is done. Fork, plasma group L2 engage. No fork, all of it coming in waves. Fork, your boy Carlos is from New York.
Plasma, state channels, layer 1, layer 2, layer 4, 8, 16, binary, Bitcoin, blockchain, trust, human coordination. You know the drill. Merkle proofs, plasma chains, plap plap, ZK snarks come and solve a quap quap, privacy scaling in a snap snap, constant products oracles, tap tap, Merkle proofs, plasma chains, plap plap, ZK stars come and solve a quap quap, privacy scaling in a snap snap, constant products oracles, it's all about the dApps. Not just a recompile or change of opcodes. We're here to change the rails, upgrade all our full nodes.
EWASM is hard, but what I do know is with abstract accounts we'll change the whole game though.
Again, he's a billionaire at 2 minutes 24 seconds. He's a billionaire. I'm sorry, but sorry. I've got a GIF of I know we're gonna catch heat for that as well. I got a GIF of Bill Gates dancing around with his friends on the stage now.
Yes.
It's the same.
There's the whole song.
It's the same thing.
It's exactly the same thing. Yeah. It's hilarious. Don't they have like the I mean, it's like right there with the Christmas sweater era. Don't they have their kind of sweatery sweat? Okay.
Yeah, it's
Why did he have to go all virus and take over the planet?
I think he was there from the get-go. Okay,
he was. I know.
I was gonna say if we end up doing a non-conspiratorial deep dive into Bill Gates and the names and people that he's associated with in the garage he was working out of at the time, there are no accidents in what we're dealing with right now. Although, if you took an objective stance, it would appear that's what's occurring on the stage is in fact an accident.
I love it when people are kind of looking around to make sure that everybody's going to do the right hand motions.
And the young lady in white is just off entirely. That's
It's 2.0, yo. It's 2.0, yo.
If she's the one that's doing the main coding, sometimes it's just best not to know.
Hold on, are these all team members? Like, are they all genuine team members? They aren't just
I'm embarrassingly under-researched on that topic. I believe that
you
it
don't
is
know who's dancing on the stage right now for Ethereum 2.0, and you want us to trust you, dude? Come on, my guy. I mean, step up. What are we looking at you as our sage in this time?
Yes, Gordon, could you tell us the clip art references that were used in the koala sequence?
There were several. If you don't know all the information, how do you know everything? I just don't understand.
More was used
than
was not used.
Redeemed.
And koalas are not bears.
What are they?
I believe they're marsupials.
They are marsupials. They got that smooth brain from eating all the eucalyptus.
Eucalyptus?
Oh,
no, I don't eucalyptus.
But it also slowly poisons them.
Yeah, it makes them lethargic.
They wither and die. Oh yeah, have you seen a koala without eucalyptus? They are violent. They are like tear your face off like a chimp violent without eucalyptus.
See, the guy had a plan.
Well, with a smooth brain, you're just mad.
But we ain't no
They have. I'm trying to think of what elderly actor they look like.
The koala?
Somebody with the all that's left is the kind of fuzzy hair on the sides,
right?
And probably a cigar, saying something slightly racist, but people laughed at it back then.
I was gonna say you have a heritage unlike mine, so you're allowed to call out groups and I'm not.
What do you mean? Every team and every project we could get far. Subvergic biologic, we work
so,
like a bazaar. Yeah.
John McAfee, can you think of anything else that you would like to commemorate this first live streaming with in topic or discussion of any sort?
Yeah. Several days ago, Lamborghini came out and let us know that they are they're killing off their V12. And yeah, I don't know if it's this model or the next model that's going to have the last it's the last of the V12s. But you have to remember Lamborghini is part of Volkswagen Group, so you've got global. You have the benefits of having Porsche and Bugatti as part of that umbrella family. Porsche stepped up and said they're going to be working on alternative fuel hybrid supercars in the future, so not completely killing off the gasoline engine, but it's a sad day. It's like a fallen heroes thing when you hear Lamborghini is killing off the V12, and from all looking at what everything engines can do now, it makes sense that they're doing it, because you can do a lot with a V10 and you can do a whole heck of a lot with turbos and a V8. But that V12 is really, it's what got me into the supercar thing. You've got 12 cylinders doing all the things, and that sound is iconic. So it has nothing to do with cryptocurrency, except Lamborghini's cool with you wrapping their cars in memes and Doge and Nyan Cat. Meanwhile, Ferrari is a little baby girl who wants to sue everybody about it. I knew I'd bring it back around. There you go.
Ferrari is the Craig Wright of automobiles.
Ferrari is the Craig Wright of... I thought we weren't going to say his name, and now we have.
The not orange man.
Yeah.
That others suspect is a fraud.
Yes.
That I will not come out and say that I know for certain, because I wasn't there.
We're not there. We don't have we don't have the backing to say it yet.
He actually won his first case by default because the weak hand that got sued did not bother to state their case. We're going to cover so much of the Satoshi.
Okay.
It will drown people in Satoshiness.
Right. Let's see if there's anything. I have the Earth Charter sitting
like
next to me for no reason. There might be
the what?
The Earth Charter.
Oh dear.
I have that sitting next to me for some reason. There might be something
because
in there
it's
to
so
end off
near
on.
and dear to your heart.
Well,
it's
the way forward, my guy.
love is not a strong enough word to describe your emotions for the Earth Charter.
No, not at all. If I can,
we will have global communism.
If I can,
the only question is whether
if I can marry this charter, I would.
I now pronounce you.
See how I pronounced that?
Yes.
Oh, I like what you're saying as far as Lambo too, because we look at what Elon is doing and the whole Tesla thing, and I mean, he represents the future, but he has a future that is kind of being handed to him and being regulatorized for him to move forward with it. And these are the same people that have absolutely none of the intellectual faculties to argue the finer points about self-driving vehicles, autonomous vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
They're certain that we need to move away from coal into, electric charging stations,
which are powered by what again? Real quick.
Coal.
No.
And whatever the local energy source is, which is mostly coal. And at the same time, the lithium is. I mean, why are we concerned about fossil fuels and not, raping the mother Gaia, Mother Earth of, the natural lithium sources? So I hear about them, being able to extract lithium from salt water or something. I don't know. I don't know my science end of that stuff. But I don't think that the hybrid thing is just about this is the next leg of the technology. I think that a lot of it is a lot of virtue signaling in that sector.
Right.
I think that there is a lot more to be done with combustibles. I think that the technology did not just mysteriously end with turbo and superchargers.
Right.
In the same way that when we're arguing renewable energies, what are the strongest points in the environmentalist favor is really things that have been there in nature the entire time.
Right.
I mean, hydro is going to be pretty tough to beat if you can figure out how to do it more and better.
Yeah.
So
we've come so far in the development of the gasoline engine, and I say we've come so far, but I'll do my best to find the commercials one day. But years ago, when we were rewatching some horrible family recorded videotapes, commercials for the Honda Civic and Accord from the late 80s came on. And they were being advertised with between 70 and 90 miles to the gallon in the 80s. And this isn't some vague memory. My brothers were there as well, and they remember this. We've had the technology for years, and we went away from it because it was bad for pocketbooks. And now we're back to really touting, our plug-in hybrid gets 40 miles to the gallon, and you've got a 3-cylinder to back you up just in case. It's like, okay, but what went into getting those batteries is so much worse for the environment than anything else.
But why don't they ever have to speak to that part of it?
Right. Why are we shut down when
everybody asks the questions? Right. This is kind of a fairly new thing to me, but I guess it's not new. But I think it may have been. Well, I won't mention names because we have a secret plan to bring somebody famous on one of our early shows, and it's going to work by golly, by gosh. But it's going to be so much fun. Crypto is going to be the ultimate in cringe. There's nothing anybody can do about it. But yeah, somebody trying to use a valid comparison of one thing to another, and somebody saying, that's a what-ifism, or the whataboutism. And I'm like, okay, somebody says, Bitcoin is bad for the environment. And somebody says, well, what about... And to me, if you're still talking about the environment, I think that's perfectly valid. If you're talking about technology and the environment. Well, I mean, Elon has placed himself directly flat center of that argument, so he should have to defend it.
Right.
So if
the creation of his vehicles is so much more detrimental to the environment in both the short and long term, because there's quite a bit that goes into recycling batteries, and the return isn't huge.
It doesn't help that what is the newest Tesla that's really fast?
The one that is that utilizes air cannons, that actually uses jets to accelerate faster. I don't know. They've all got weird names like his kid. I don't know the Teslas.
Somebody shared a picture of one that just blew up, caught on fire, just a couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
And I mean, I think for each time that there's been something new that one of those events have happened.
One does catch fire.
There's no coverage about it at all.
Right.
There's no coverage.
There's very little
the picture.
coverage.
Picture of the vehicle. A person got burned, and who cares because Bezos is going into space. Wait, no, Branson beat him.
Right.
So, hold just one brief second. This will be very brief.
Holding. I understand. I don't accept, but I understand that the future is electric cars. I understand that to be the case. At the same time, it's easy. It's been much easier for Tesla to become what it has off the back of the American citizen, off of U.S. grants and loans. Granted, he's paid a lot of that back, but I I don't know that I would. No. I know that I would not have put that money forth for further for electric vehicle development, knowing that it is in the same league with Uber and Lyft's subsidization solely for, earning, not earning, solely for the development, for the structure of driverless vehicles. Because that's all it's leading to is driverless, autonomous vehicles that you have no control over, and you lacking the ability to move yourself about, because the majority
And you
will.
know that there's a lot of people. There's still a lot of people that are saying that that's just the fear mongering from the right kind of stuff. And I mean, the guy that has now stepped down from Uber was literally the one saying it 2 years ago on Shark Tank.
Right.
So I mean, I have always adhered to the policy of get it from the actual people saying it out of their own mouths.
Right. Yeah. Don't.
And I also believe we live in a time now where the deep fake stuff means that anything that is put out from Wikipedia to actual motion picture and video files, you can't trust truth anymore. But back it up 2, 3, 4 years ago, and anything that was not ready for a deep fake back then, if you have got it in a file and backed up in your stuff, then you have actual research.
Right.
And I mean, the future is headed in a direction that when people would have fought against it, there was a lot of misdirection and distraction,
Right.
to get you thinking and worrying about other things. But now we know who the major players are and what is expected of them. And my hope for people that are in the current climate is that they don't rely on the government for easy welfare money, or people that were working prior to 2020 that there is no incentive to go back to work.
Mm-hmm.
That people take advantage of the pseudo free market capitalist side of things, that is not just about greed and the people at the top of the food chain, but it's about people that are in there doing the delivery and Uber Eats and scraping living together and taking advantage of where the markets of these things are headed.
Right.
Because pretty soon the actual capitalists are really more of a fascist type system.
Right.
Where the economies have actually already been promised to them.
Right.
And their competitors are already intentionally kind of held at bay. So it may be 2 years, it may be 7 years, but eventually Uber is going to be the ones that have their own fleets, or whoever bought them, or whoever comes next.
Right.
And those they will be a government contract for the types of cars that are used. And we call them cars, but they're going to be, we actually live in a time that is so advanced, and yet we don't know what flying cars are actually going to be called.
Right.
Think about it. I mean, we don't know what the main source of energy is going to be. They might be the drone-like looking things that they're trying now. They might look like something completely different.
Right.
But something tells me that by the time that there's actual models coming out, that people other than, Uber affiliate, conglomerates are running, we're probably not just going to call them flying cars. I mean, movies were called talkies when they first had sound. See, the fact that we still call them movies is kind of funny because it's it moves.
Right.
It's a movie. What's that advanced telecommunication system that the military uses?
It's a walkie-talkie.
The walkie-talkie. Yeah.
If you can walk, you can talk.
Right.
I think that was Brian Regan that did that. He's hilarious. Very fun. But yeah, I love looking at, I mean, we talk Wind Lambo and all this stuff. But just, you can't ignore the irony that it is Elon and it is people that he's either going to be competing or not having to compete with.
Right.
That will be the future of that market. And it absolutely has everything to do with crypto and nothing to do with crypto at the same time.
Right. Yeah. Do I think Bitcoin is the currency that becomes the currency? No, I think it's a stepping stone. Do I think Tesla is the car to end all cars? No, I think it's a stepping stone. I think it's still going to be Ford or Volkswagen or Toyota. One of the big three. who becomes, the provider. And there's always going to be a competition, but again, when you've got subsidies, it's not true competition. And
the beauty, the elegance of the 2027 Ford Taurus.
they stopped making the Taurus, unfortunately. But yeah, it's something to keep in mind is that Ford and other manufacturers have made their claim back in either 2019 or 2020 that they will have autonomous vehicles available in their showroom by 2024. I know Ford said that. I believe Toyota may have said that, but Ford sticks out most in my mind. And that seems so alien to us now, but I mean, think about how alien cryptocurrency was 2 years ago to the public versus right now.
Right.
People aren't advertising that they accept it in restaurants and whatnot, but now on the general market, you can buy anything with cryptocurrency as long as somebody's using PayPal, Venmo, or Cash App, and they'll facilitate the transaction. It's like, oh, they don't want crypto, fine, you can still have cash. But those companies still end up with the Bitcoin. They end up with the cryptocurrency. They're doing better than whoever, what idiot just took cash for their product rather than the wildly fluctuating asset that is cryptocurrency. We adopt these things so much faster than we ever have before. And with the fad culture, with the influencers, going out and buying whatever new fangled thing is out there. I just use the word fangled. The adoption of autonomous vehicles, there are going to be people, there are going to be kids who turn 16, 17, 18, who they're not going out to get their driver's license. They are so accustomed to Uber and Lyft that it's going to be, I can't wait until I can buy my own autonomous vehicle. Not, I can't wait to go get my license. I can't wait till I can buy my own autonomous vehicle and not have to have someone drive me around.
And there's a documentary that you are required to watch. I've told you about it a few times, but
I believe you.
Can't remember if it's Netflix or but it deals with all the autonomous stuff. And I love the fact that I think probably Hulu, the creator of the documentary, and a few, they show the different sides of it, and they say it absolutely is going to be the future, but should it be?
Right.
And they actually cover the what are we trading for things, and but they show the pilot test market for the autonomous stuff, and I mean they're using high school kids,
right?
They're already fully comfortable with the idea of there is no driver, and I just hop in the thing and it takes me where I need to go.
Right. Well, because
I think that
humans are emotional, and the person driving them around could be having a bad day, but the computer, that's just ones and zeros. It's going to do what's right all the time.
But I think it's like the money side of things too. I think that some things should have a little bit of difficulty built into them to remind you of what it is.
Mm-hmm.
When you can just swipe your Google Pay or your Apple Pay or whatever the different things are, and you don't have a firm relationship with the actual creating or adding to the economy that makes money valuable, I think you lose some of the connection of how hard it has been for the history of humans to attain it.
Right.
So,
I mean,
on that note,
sorry, just real quick, we're 100 years in to car ownership being normal. I mean, take a minute for that.
Yeah.
We're 100 years in to personal transportation being normalized. And we're already saying...
And we're going to hand that away.
Yes, we're saying, I don't wanna. It's too much for me. I gotta watch the TikToks and the WAP. Right? Sorry, go ahead. That was...
yeah, no, I totally agree. And I mean, what we are creating with this wonderful first... we just go right in with a marathon.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
we just go right in with the long...
I mean, do you know how long we've been running for a minute, bud?
Hours.
Hour and almost 2.
Yeah. On that note, let's continue these awesome conversations. We can prioritize them for the next one, but I do need to let you go. I need to plug myself into the charging station.
That's totally fine. I will also do that. We'll Let's try to get together in the morning and pump one of these out.
Great. Fantastic.
Sounds good. Any words of wisdom to leave us with, Gordon?
Just buy more Doge. Wait, no, that's totally wrong.
We're not going to reveal a lot about what we're in, but I'm happy to tell you what we're not in. We're not in Doge. You got Gordon Freeman, Crypto Gordon
True.
Freeman, and totally not forever sleep, John McAfee, signing out until next time. We're Crypto Cringe, and we are not being sued.